AITA. Am I the a-hole for telling my son that he is the reason me and his mother are getting divorced? I know upon reading the title alone, many of you will just call me an a-hole, and you might be right, but I want to explain myself first. My wife and I have been together when we first met in high school. We were able to maintain a long-distance relationship throughout college, and stayed true to each other. I truly thought we were inseparable. She gave birth to a boy 12 years ago, and since then things changed drastically. My son unfortunately has behavioral problems and it's been very difficult raising him. He throws temper tantrums, gets in trouble in school frequently, refuses to listen to my wife and I. As a result, my wife and I started having disagreements about how we should handle him, i.e. whether to punish more, let him get his anger out, etc. This created a wedge between us that kept getting wider. We both resorted to drinking more, and wanting to be away from each other as much as possible to get some relief. We started having more arguments, and eventually it became so obvious that our marriage was deteriorating that family members started questioning it. So the topic of divorce came up and we both decided to go through with it. When I first told my son about it, he cried endlessly, then started throwing fits about how unfair it was. I completely understand that a divorce is hard on any child, but the intensity of his fits kept growing. Since my wife and I are separated, not yet divorced, and because she can't tolerate our son that much, we agreed that he gets to spend most of the week with me unfortunately, so I see him a lot and have to put up with his yelling far more than she does. Last Friday, he started asking if my wife and I forgave each other, and I told him that the divorce is happening, like it or not. He starts crying and I got mad and told him, "Buddy, want to know why we are getting divorced? Because of you. We were happy before you were born, but you always act bad and get in trouble, so stop arguing with me when you caused it, you have nothing but yourself to blame." This devastated him, and I did apologize, but I told him there was some truth to what I said. However, since then he's been more quiet and behaved. Even my wife, who was with him over the weekend, said he was much better. So yes, I think I am the a-hole for telling him he was the reason we are getting divorced, but in some ways I don't think I am, because maybe it was just something he needed to hear. The title was bad, but your explanation was worse. You failed as a parent by not getting him the help he needs, and being able to support him as a parent. Now you're not just breaking up his home, but you're telling him it's his fault when the fault lies with you two adults. That's horrific. YTA. You're the a-hole. YTA. You're the a-hole times 1000. Yes, the title is bad, but the content of the post isn't better. You're such an a-hole, I can't believe it. You getting divorced isn't his fault. It's not. He's your child. Children throw tantrums, they can also get in trouble at school and can disagree with their parents. Parenting him is your job, and if you and your wife can't handle it, that's on you. Because she can't tolerate our son that much, we agreed that he gets to spend most of the week with me unfortunately. Oh, F off with that, that's your child. Your child that is going to a major change in his life, and you say it's unfortunate he's spending most of his time with you. YTA for telling him the divorce is his fault. YTA for telling him you and your wife were happy before he was born. YTA for following him as a parent and being a shitty person. YTA for being glad he's calmer now after you destroyed him with your words. I feel sorry for that kid. He has two horrible parents. I hope he has some other positive support in his life. YTA. Your son is not the reason you're divorcing. The fact that you and your wife couldn't agree on a system to parent him is the reason. YTA. As someone who is a child psychologist who works with abused children, no child should ever feel like they're the reason for the divorce of their parents, and it's emotional abuse to do so. You're taking your own issues out on your son and projecting it onto him. You two not being able to work things out, is not the problem of your son. If your son is having behavioral issues, most of the time it has nothing to do with the kid, but with the parents. Most likely, your kid has past issues or stress that he needs help dealing with, and doesn't know how to properly cope with them, because you never taught him how. Your son needs therapy, and both of you need to be a better parent to him. Also, maybe you and your wife should also seek family therapy and parenting classes to be a better parent to your kid, rather than accuse him of ruining your relationship. You're the adults, he's still a child, you're at fault, not him. YTA. Oh my God, YTA. Please tell me your son is getting therapy or counseling. YTA. All the way, full stop. Because of you, we were happy before you were born, but you always act bad and get in trouble, so stop arguing with me when you caused it. You have nothing but yourself to blame. The only reason why your son is acting better is because he's scared that bad things will happen to him if he acts out or does anything less than perfect around you and your wife. He now believes that if he acts perfectly, you will get back together. You have essentially told him that your love is conditional. This makes you a shitty parent and an a-hole. You should have taken your own advice. You have nobody but yourself to blame for this divorce. You and your wife need to get this kid into therapy, because no matter what age a child is, this is never an okay thing to say to one. 15 years ago, when my brother Jeremy was 35, he overheard my dad talking on the phone to another woman who was not my mother. Jeremy told my mom, and when my parents' marriage blew up, my dad later said, "None of this would have happened if it weren't for Jeremy." That's not how that frocking works. My brother eventually forgave him for that, but he never forgot and held resentment for it until my dad's death 2 years ago. Grow up and take some responsibility for your actions. He's a child. If he's having attitude and behavioral problems, then take him to a specialist. Negative reinforcement like this will only breed discontent and hatred towards both parents. You are an adult. You should know better. Maybe I'm the a-hole for telling you this so harshly, but in some ways I don't think I am, because maybe it was just something you need to hear. Dude. YTA all the way. No child should be told that, especially since it sounds like he's pretty young. I hope your wife gets full custody and you never see him again. Hey OP, I found the right subreddit for this. r/I am a piece of shit, because you not only told your child that it's his fault for you and your wife willingly getting a divorce, but also telling him you were happier before he came. YTA. Something more than an a-hole. I do hope you realize you just irreversibly damaged your son. He will resent and despise you forever. You are the type of person that shouldn't have children. Completely selfish. This was very fucked up to read. I feel bad for him. You do realize his behavior issues stem from you guys. YTA. My dad said this to me 35 years ago. It still upsets me. He's dead now. And I am glad. YTA 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 YTA. Why didn't you seek professional help for your son when nothing you tried worked? Why did you two not formalize a plan together, so that the parenting was consistent from both parents? How and why did you let 12 years go by without formal interventions? Your marriage deteriorated because you and your wife stopped working on your marriage. You two avoid each other and drink because you two didn't want to sit down and work on the issues. You two chose to let the whole parenting thing drive a wedge between you two. It wasn't your kid's fault that his parents can't communicate to each other, and seek professional help to assist them to understand and parent their son better. You're using your kid as a scapegoat for your marriage breakdown, and that's so unfair to the kid. Especially since the kid probably can't control or understand his behavior. YTA. If your son don't have any mental illness, then the fault is your wife too. You and your wife raise him this way. Did you at least try to talk to him? Regular education is not for everyone. You can definitely combine punishment with recreational activities that help him to relax. Many people have already said it, you just ruined your son's mind. Even if you were desperate, you could still handled it better, and get to this point without destroying his childhood, adolescence, and probably adulthood. YTA. He absolutely didn't need to hear that. First of all, it's not true. You're not getting divorced because of your son, you're getting divorced because you and your wife turned to alcohol instead of towards therapy, and healthy coping mechanisms. The second you realized you weren't equipped to give your child what they needed, you should have searched for a way to do so. Yelling and drinking weren't your only options. Second, a child needs to be given the tools to succeed. They don't have the capabilities to find or articulate their needs. It's your job as a parent to figure that out. You can't control what they do with their tools, but you have to give them the ones they need: therapy, coping mechanisms, whatever it is. If you don't know what your child needs, you don't punish the child. You seek outside help. You said something untrue without giving your child the tools needed to process your comment. Stop blaming your child for your bad decisions. Your child may need more or different things than most, but it sounds like when you realized this you blamed him instead of helped him. That's on you, not your son.